Our top story this Saturday evening, the political tamasha in Pakistan continues. Pakistan Assembly held a session to oust Imran Khan, but the Pakistan Prime Minister decided not to attend the session and that would decide his future, but he was not there. Here's more on that. The writing was on the wall. When the Pakistan National Assembly met, the opposition benches were packed. On the Treasury side, the numbers had dwindled, symbolic of which way the wind was blowing. Imran's loyal lieutenants, Fawad Chaudhry and Shah Mahmood Qureshi, were there, but the Pakistan Prime Minister was himself absent. Even before the debate began, there was controversy. The Speaker saying that the foreign conspiracy angle must be probed, and the opposition charging him with delaying the vote.
परसों पाकिस्तान की तारीख में एक ताबनाक दिन था जब अदालत उज़्मा ने आपके गैर आईनी इक़दाम को, प्राइम मिनिस्टर इमरान खान के गैर आईनी इक़दाम को, डिप्टी स्पीकर के गैर आईनी इक़दाम को कलअदम करार दिया। जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो हुक्म है, जो ऑर्डर है, आप आज उसके ताबे आप हाउस की कार्रवाई चलाएंगे, इसलिए कि आज ये पार्लियामान एक नई तारीख रकम करने जा रहा है।
Bilawal Bhutto trashed Imran's conspiracy theory and used cricketing analogy to attack the former Pakistan skipper.
आपका कप्तान भाग रहा है, भागते भागते तौहीन अदालत कर रहा है, भागते भागते आईन शिकनी कर रहे हैं। मैंने रिकॉर्ड पे ले आया हूं कि आप तौहीन अदालत कर रहे हो। हम अपना वकला को भी, अगर आप तौहीन अदालत करते रहते हो, वोटिंग नहीं करते हो, तो हम इधर भी बैठे रहेंगे।
PMLN leader Maryam Nawaz called Imran a psychopath who was holding the entire nation hostage to save his skin. Amid a barrage of opposition fire, it was left to Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi to defend the Imran Khan government.
जो attempts और blatant attempts हो रही हैं या की जा रही हैं दर पर्दा regime change की, वो किसी से पोशीदा नहीं है। ये रिकॉर्ड की बात है। आज हम हैं, कल नहीं होंगे। हमसे बड़ी बड़ी हस्तियां यहां हो गई हैं कि आज हमें फैसला करना है कि बसियत कौम के हमने किस तरह जीना है, खुददारी से, खुद मुख्तारी या गुलामी का जिक्र हुआ।
With its back to the wall, Imran's PTI made one final effort to get the no trust vote stopped. It moved a review petition in the Supreme Court, the same court which had dealt it a body blow on Thursday. Bureau Report, India Today. Joining me this evening are Mr. Prabhu Dayal, former diplomat, and Mr. Abdul Basit, former High Commissioner of Pakistan to India. Good evening to both of you gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us on India Today. Mr. Basit, I'll come across to you right now. Why the delay in the vote on the no confidence motion, sir?
Much for having me on your show. It seems that the government and the speaker, they have decided to now defy the Supreme this is what it appears, but the government still has time till midnight, and let's see if they don't go ahead. And the feelers which the speaker has been giving is that he is not going to have a vote on the motion. If that happens, then obviously the matter goes till Monday, and then we will see how the Supreme Court reacts to this defiance on the part of the speaker, whether he is disqualified or the Supreme Court can also ask institutions to come to its aid under Article 190 in order to get its ruling implemented. So now things are getting quite tense, unfortunately. because everybody thought that now that the Supreme Court has come up with its judgment, a very clear judgment that a vote should be held today on the 9th of April, and a new leader should be elected as well. So now things appear to have been upended by the speaker, and we're all speculating. Nobody exactly knows as to what is going to happen, because the Prime Minister has also convened a cabinet meeting.
Right.
So what this decision finally they take, whether they put up a fierce battle or they give up, we still do not know. Because this filibustering is on in the National Assembly. Government officials, they are making speeches now again. The session will resume at 9:30. So it's anyone's guess actually. Things are quite now complicated, and the Prime Minister himself does not appear to be giving up so easily.
Couple of questions to you, sir. Earlier we were speaking to one of our guests from Pakistan, and what he tried to say was he had seemed to have some sort of nuanced reading of the judgment of the Supreme Court from Thursday. He said that the Speaker was obligated to only convene a session and take up the no confidence motion. Today, it didn't obligate him to in fact conduct the vote today itself. One, your comments on that, and secondly, are you surprised by the Speaker's behavior, sir?
I am somewhat surprised, but the Supreme Court judgment was very clear that the vote would be held today. But in any case, they can interpret the way they want to interpret. But it is very clear that if it goes beyond a couple of days, then I'm sure the Supreme Court would take notice of this, so moto notice of this, and may disqualify the Speaker. And the Speaker has been telling to some people, some journalists, that he is ready to sacrifice his political career for his friendship with the Prime Minister. So it's quite, a difficult situation now. And it appears that the Prime Minister himself wants to go to any level in order to show to the people that he is up against everyone else, up against all, and he is fighting for the sovereignty and for the dignity of the country and for its people. So now the narrative which he started to build is he is sticking to that narrative.
Right.
And to me, it now looks rather difficult that while so much has already happened, the National Assembly or the Speaker would, and they are taking, they would explain it in a way, as you very rightly said, that they would explain it that the Supreme Court ordered them to convene a National Assembly session. But they have the right to, without adjourning the session, without proroguing it, they can continue the session for as many days and weeks and months as they want. And the Supreme Court under Article 69 does not have really power to tell them as to when and how they should be conducting this session.
Okay.
So now, and then the government has also decided to submit a review petition.
Yes, it has.
Which they could not do it because the Supreme Court closes work of the day today at around 12:30 or 2:30. So they could not submit their petition. So now I think that they're moving in different directions in order to save their skin, at the same time to keep using dilatory tactics in order to not to have a vote on the motion.
Mr. Dayal, I'll come across to you right now. A couple of points that Mr. Basit has made, of course, but one of them, I mean, it's very surprising. The Speaker, like he said, some of the media is already quoting, sources close to the Speaker or the Speaker himself. We don't know whether he's the one who's been speaking to journalists, but indicating that he's willing to put his job on the line, face whatever contempt of court punishment he has to face for Imran Khan, because he shares a 30-year-long bond with Imran Khan, as is being quoted. Hence, he's willing to put his job on the line as well. Does that surprise you? I mean, he's putting everything on the line. The Constitution is on the line, and he's willing to defy everything just because he is loyal to Imran Khan.
Well, Ambassador Basit has very correctly summarized the entire situation. I entirely agree with him that the scenario is very, very unclear. It is filled with uncertainty. Now, he pointed out that the Speaker has said that he's prepared to put his job on the line, and I'm sure he is much, much more well-informed about the goings-on in Pakistan than I am. But there is no doubt about the fact that the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and even the President of Pakistan are from Imran Khan's party. They have a close friendship with him. In fact, the President himself was a founding member of Imran Khan's party. So there is a strong bond between them. But, normally one expects that when the Supreme Court gives a directive, then all concerned carry it out regardless of their personal friendships. Constitutional responsibilities and constitutional duties override personal relationships. So therefore, I'm very surprised that the Speaker is saying that he's prepared to put his job on the line for the sake of his 30-year-old friendship with Imran Khan, because that really means that his constitutional responsibilities are not as important for him as his friendship. That is disappointing. Anyway, as Ambassador Basit pointed out, things are very unclear, and one doesn't really know the direction in which things are going. But I have a feeling that the Supreme Court will take stock of the situation and ensure that its directives to all concerned are carried out. In other words, that there is a voting on the no confidence motion. Whether it is done today or not, I'm not too sure. I even have been given to understand that there is a time limit of sorts. I do not know. Ambassador Basit would be able to throw more light on it. But I do hope that clarity emerges for the sake of the Constitution and the people of Pakistan, because of the fact that this sort of uncertainty is not good for them. It's not good for anybody.
This sort of uncertainty, Mr. Dayal, you say is not good for them. What Ambassador Basit also alluded to earlier is that things are getting very tense. When we start looking at that situation in a broader way, he also alluded to the fact, and he almost said it, that, the Supreme Court, if there is contempt of Supreme Court and the Supreme Court's order is not followed, the Supreme Court might have to rely on institutions in order to impress its order. Things become very tense. The implications for India, sir, if you can put that in the broader picture, sir.
Oh, the matter is internal to Pakistan. It doesn't affect us at all. However, as a neighbor of Pakistan, we would like to see stability in that country. I've always believed that a stable Pakistan is good for the bilateral relationship. And what we are seeing now is increasing political instability, which does not augur well for the region. It could open the ground for some dangerous elements to take advantage of the situation. And I do hope that this does not happen. I have served in Pakistan. I have many, many friends there. And for their sake and for the sake of all other Pakistanis, I hope that there is some clarity that emerges soon and that the political situation stabilizes as soon as possible.
Right. Mr. Dayal and Mr. Basit, just stay on with us. We'll just come back to you now. In a 40-minute address that Imran Khan, Pakistan Prime Minister, made yesterday to the nation ahead of the vote of no confidence in the National Assembly, he praised India on multiple occasions, from India's independent foreign policy to its free and fair elections. Imran Khan showed the mirror to the opposition in his country, quoting India's example.
हिंदुस्तान को देख लें, इतनी किसी की जुर्रत नहीं, किसी की जुर्रत थी कि इस तरह की बात करते हैं हिंदुस्तान में.
Singular praise for India from a beleaguered, cornered Imran Khan, addressing his nation possibly for the last time as Prime Minister of Pakistan. In a 33-minute speech, Imran, who touched upon all the familiar tropes that have riddled his many recent speeches, chose to invoke India repeatedly and always in glowing terms. Riding a narrative of foreign conspiracy against his government, he singled India's independent foreign policy for singular praise.
यूरोपियन यूनियन के जब एम्बेसडर्स ने यहाँ बिल्कुल प्रोटोकॉल के खिलाफ स्टेटमेंट दी कि जी पाकिस्तान को रूस के खिलाफ स्टेटमेंट देनी चाहिए, क्या वो हिंदुस्तान में कह सकते हैं? क्या उनकी जुर्रत है हिंदुस्तान में ऐसी स्टेटमेंट देते हुए?
This isn't the first time Imran Khan is praising India. On March 21st, before the no trust implosion loomed on the horizon, he had similarly praised India and come in for massive criticism.
साथ वाला हमारा मुल्क है हिंदुस्तान। मैं आज हिंदुस्तान को दाद देता हूं, इन्होंने हमेशा आजाद फॉरेन पॉलिसी रखी। आज हिंदुस्तान उनके साथ मिला हुआ है, उनका अलायंस है। क्वाड के अंदर अमेरिका का अलायंस की हुई है और अपने आप को वो कहता है मैं न्यूट्रल हूं। रूस से तेल मंगवा रहा है जबकि सैंक्शंस लगी हुई हैं, क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान की पॉलिसी अपने लोगों की बेहतरी के लिए है।
Practically painting his country a banana republic, Imran Khan also used India's use of electronic voting machines as an example of democracy in motion, decrying how his recommendation of their use in Pakistan had been repeatedly blocked.
इनका सबसे बड़ा खौफ ये है कि वो जो ईवीएम मशीन है जो हिंदुस्तान में भी है, जो जुडिशल कमीशन बनी थी 2015 में, उसकी फाइंडिंग सिर्फ ये थी कि जितने भी मसले आए हैं अगर आप ईवीएम मशीन ले आए तो वो सारे मसले हल हो जाते थे।
The rapid-fire praise for India was ironically one of the most notable themes in the 33-minute speech.
मुझे बड़ा अफसोस है कि ये सिर्फ एक आरएसएस की आइडियोलॉजी की वजह से और ये जो कश्मीर में उन्होंने किया है उसकी वजह से हमारे ताल्लुकात नहीं हैं। वो एक बड़े खुददार कौम है, कभी किसी की जुर्रत नहीं है कि वहाँ इस तरह की बात करें। किसी सुपर पावर की जुर्रत नहीं है कि वहाँ ये भी तस्वर कर दें कि जनाब वो यही कह दें कि जनाब अपने फॉरेन रिलेशन में वो कहें जो हम कह रहे हैं। अब देख रहे हैं वो रूसियों से हालांकि सारी सैंक्शंस लगी हुई हैं, वो कह रहे हैं जी हम तेल इंपोर्ट करते हैं, हमारे लोगों की बेहतरी है।
While the politician in Imran was clearly invoking India, Pakistan's touchy topic number one, for dramatic effect, it's likely that part of Imran's praise sprung from genuine admiration. Imran Khan's praise is also affirmation from a so-called adversary nation of India's rise in a region that's been sinking and in breakdown mode over the last 2 years. A country whose economy isn't collapsing, and a country whose navigation of the geopolitical boiling pot post-Ukraine is the envy of many. Imran has had an old India connection thanks to cricket. Maybe some of that bubbled to the surface on Friday night too. Bureau Report, India Today.
Our guests are still with us, Mr. Prabhu Dayal, former diplomat, and Mr. Abdul Basit, former High Commissioner of Pakistan to India. Mr. Basit, I'll come across to you right now. You know, this reason that Imran Khan has been using and has been propping up at every given juncture and point, saying that there is a foreign conspiracy to topple my government and the opposition is in cahoots with a foreign government in order to see me dethroned. As a former diplomat, sir, your comments on this?
I mean, there is no doubt that the government is trying to build their narrative around this so-called international conspiracy or conspiracy theory. But I, for one, I'm not really willing to accept it. And I have raised my doubts earlier as well, because there's so many gaping holes in the government story that it is. I find it very difficult to accept.
What are the gaping holes, sir? If you could elaborate, why is it that you can't believe it?
Because, you know, all governments do try to put pressure on other states to follow or to be in sync with their foreign policy objectives. And we do see these things, you know, I mean, this is not something unique. But to imply that the foreign government worked or some domestic elements, especially the opposition, worked in connivance with Washington D.C., I think it appears to me far-fetched, because at the end of the day, the government hasn't come with any evidence, unavoidable proof or evidence which could corroborate or substantiate its allegation. If a meeting took place in Washington, D.C. on the 7th of March, why, if there was any threat or if there was any conspiracy, why the government failed to take notice of that, why it waited till after 27th of March. So there are many things, questions which can be raised about this conspiracy theory. And hence the Supreme Court also did not go into this area, because they thought that this is beyond their bailiwick, beyond their jurisdiction. So though the government is trying to keep reinforcing their narrative by their frequent statements, and people who support the PTI, they are subscribing to this theory or this narrative. But I think majority of people in Pakistan do not buy this, though they do understand that there have been pressures by the US or by other European countries on Pakistan, not only on Russia but on other issues as well. But to say that there was domestic connivance, that to most, I think majority of people, that appears to be somewhat far-fetched. And the government, if there was any such thing, government should have immediately instituted a commission, or have asked the Supreme Court immediately to constitute a commission to further investigate into this matter. But that did not happen till time the opposition was able to collect more than 172, or the magic number. When the government clearly saw this coming, only then, they started building this narrative.
Absolutely. The timing of it is something that is absolutely questionable. The narrative which was being set at the time that the government saw that the opposition was in fact building up its numbers and stacking up its numbers, and rebels were in fact joining hands with the opposition, rebel PTI members, and also of course one of their key allies who in fact moved from the alliance government towards the opposition, which of course set the ball rolling in terms of this no confidence motion as well. Mr. Prabhu Dayal and Mr. Abdul Basit, stay on with us. Our continuous coverage of this development in Pakistan continues. We're of course standing by to see if that vote of no confidence against the Imran Khan-led Pakistan government actually takes place tonight in the National Assembly. Stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break.